Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of A Page I Love. This is Kevin Sharp. Today, I am joined by artist Jeff Johnson, who has a new series called Rogue's Kingdom, which we will get to a little later in the segment. Jeff, welcome to Comic Art Live, and thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Kevin. Good to see you.
We're doing one of the iconic, I would say, series, artists, and individual pages of the 80s. Will you
hmm
please tell the audience what we're going to be talking about today?
So we're going to be talking about one of my favorite artists, and then one of my favorite pages that that artist ever drew. It's from Kevin Maguire's run on the Justice League, and it is the page where Guy Gardner gets punched in the mouth or punched in the nose and gets knocked out. The famous one punch sequence. It's one of my all-time favorite pages out of one of my all-time favorite runs. It's just a great book.
So let's start at the beginning, and please tell the audience, where would you have been, career-wise, ambition-wise, art-wise, when you found this issue? Would this have been live off the stands or something you found as a back issue?
I see. So what year was that? Was that 85?
87.
So I had graduated from high school, and I'd always wanted to draw comics. And I was definitely in the Al Williamson old school, John Buscema camp. That was definitely my groove. That was my training early on. That's all the guys that group of guys was the sort of my artistic vision. And then I graduated high school, and I was still practicing and learning my craft, sending in submissions, and doing all that stuff. And then Justice League started coming out with Kevin and Keith, and it was honestly, Kevin, it was a revelation to me, because as great as Al Williamson and John Buscema and those guys are at drawing everything, their actors are always a little bit serious, right? Their range of emotion is, I don't know if I would describe it as limited, but it was never. I mean, Conan doesn't, he never laughs a lot. He guffaws, right? When I saw Kevin's work, I realized that these characters could be more than just icons. They could be more than just representation of an idea. They could be actual people. And it opened up a whole world of storytelling for me. And so I've been studying Kevin since the first time I saw his work on that first cover of Justice League. And it has inspired me to make all of my characters as individual as possible and as human as possible and have as much range as possible. So Kevin is one of my guiding stars in comic book art. So and I it changed my trajectory quite a bit.
Well, as we're speaking now, the viewers will see the page on the screen. So let's just dive in. I mean, this is
Oh,
just 80s gold, right? So
yeah, exactly.
walk us through this. What works for you off this page? What do you see in the storytelling, the panels?
Well, so first off, it's only a four-panel page, but there's a lot going on, and it's very much there's not a ton of action. There's the one punch, and so that's the only action on the page. But so you have a great, good close-up of Guy getting popped. I love the way Kevin does the blurring of the fist, right? So it just, at 1 second, Guy Gardner's in your face, and then there's just a blur of motion, and he gets tagged in the nose, and it's just the expression on his face is amazing. But then also just how far his face moves back, but you can see the trail, a little trail of blood coming out of his nose. You definitely get to feel that he got rocked. And then it's just he's out on the ground, right? So a low angle using the panel border as the horizon line is something that I always love, but I can never really pull it off. John Byrne used to do it a lot, where the horizon line is the bottom of the panel, and I love that. And it shows all the characters, and Batman's in the foreground, and then the comic reactions to all the characters tell you who each and one of those characters is in a really quick and deep level. My favorite is the body language of Gardner's feet just touching. It's just a great little composition trick that really leads the eye over to Batman and off the page. Then it's a really great top down that shows you where everybody's at, guys on the floor, because what's important right there is a Batman is leaving and he's crossing away. And it's just a really great graphic, almost like a palate cleanser. Like we were real up close and we were really in the faces of these characters, and now we pull back and we show where everyone's at and that the conflict is over. And then we get back in for the aftermath of everyone's reactions to now what it means for them that Guy Gardner got knocked out. And then one of the things I love about it is that it's not flashy, right? Like what's really great about all of Kevin's storytelling is he let the characters just be in the event, right? Like the event itself was never, he never did anything super tricky. It's almost like you are standing in the room also. And I've always found that that is a real subtle way to pull you into the storytelling and make you experience the story in a very personal way.
What strikes me is just the face acting,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to everything else that you cited.
Yeah. Where Blue Beetle is like wiping the tear away. Yeah, it's so good. And then I love that expression on the Martian Manhunter where he's like, he gets it. You can see he doesn't really approve, but he kind of is happy about it, right? Like there's a lot going on in that expression.
Do you own any Kevin Maguire original art?
I do. I actually own a couple of pieces of his. I have one of his Legion of Superheroes covers, what he did back in the day. I also have a Speedball character sheet that he did, and then I have a Captain America page that was inked by Terry Austin. That's stunning. But my favorite Kevin piece is one he did in my sketchbook. He is also a fan of martial arts films, the way I am, and he's a huge Jackie Chan fan. And so he drew a Jackie Chan in my sketchbook, and it's perfect Jackie Chan.
For a second, when I thought you were teeing us up when you started to say, but my favorite one that I own, I thought you were going to say, is this very page.
Oh, that, I mean, honestly, that would be fantastic. But no, I can't afford anything like this.
Why don't we transition over to Rogue's Kingdom? Please tell
Okay.
the viewers a little about the book. You're working with writer James Robinson.
The book is called Rogue's Kingdom, and it is a fantasy swords and sorcery original epic created by James and I. We've been working on it for literally almost a decade. The trouble is I can't let a page go. So I have put so much into everything that I draw that it is taking forever. The first issue, we kickstarted it last year and we just were able to get it printed up and delivered just recently. So everybody now has their issue ones. And we are going to be launching issue 2. The campaign starts, and we're going to pre-launch in February, and then we're going to actually launch the campaign in March. So everyone will be able to get issue 2 from the Kickstarter, and we'll have more of issue 1 available so everyone can kind of catch up. It's a swords and sorcery fantasy. We pitched as like Game of Thrones, but for kids. It's got dragons and it's got centaurs and it's got everything. Basically, when we started coming up with the book, we both wanted to do a fantasy story, and I had the bright idea of setting it in sort of 17th century Paris and France because I wanted to do the Three Musketeers with magic, and that was a huge mistake because drawing a castle is easier than drawing a palace, and that's and everything in my world is so ornate and so detail heavy, and I've done so much research and tried to create this really interesting world for people to come live in with us for a little while. But James has written an incredible story, and he's done this really amazing thing where there's the comic, and then we also have short text stories that he has in the back of every issue that expand the world. And he did this really, really great thing. We were going to do a letters column, and he decided that the letters column is going to be the newspaper from the town. So you can read the newspaper of events happening in the town while the story is taking place to really flesh out the world building.
Jeff, thank you again for your time and for joining us. Super fun to look at this page again.
All right, thank you.